So in this question, we're given an integer array nums and an integer target, and we need to return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. And you can assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. You can return the answer in any order. So the brute force method for this problem would basically just be to use a double for loop that would start at the first index, then add every index after that to see if it equals the target, and go to the next index and do the same thing until you have two indexes such that they add up to the target, which you will return into as a two element array. But that is not the most optimal solution, because there is a solution where you can do it in O of n time complexity, which we will explore right now. So if you have the array that is given 2, 7, 11, 15 with the target equaling to 9. So first, when we go to the first element, we can see that if we subtract target minus the element, then we can essentially get the other elements that are in this array, because we know that two of the elements equal to target. So if we basically create a dictionary where we check if the target minus the current element already exists, then we know that there is already a value in the array that will add up to the actual target. So let's start with creating a dictionary like so. So the first question, we can see that the target minus the element equals 7. So the dictionary is empty at this point, so there are no values. So the key for this will be the current number with the index, because that is what we want to return. So now when we go to the second element, we can see that target minus 7 is 2. And since it is in the dictionary, what we can do is we can basically return the array, which is nums at, or the hash map at target minus the current number, which is 7, which equals 2, which will return this index, and the current index we are on, which is 1, where we will get 0, 1, which is the output in the explanation. So if we want to write that into code, we'll start by creating a dictionary. Then what we can do is traverse through the array for I in range nums. Then we can check if target minus the current value is in the hash dict, then, or if it's not in the dictionary, then we need to add it like we did before by basically adding the current value equivalent to the index. Otherwise, if it is in the dictionary, that means we have the two values that sum up to target. We can return I, and we can also return the value at target minus I, which is the complement value. So we run this. Yep, that's correct. So this is far more optimal than the n squared solution, because you're only traversing through the array once and you're using a dictionary to keep track of the previous values to ensure that when you do eventually find something that has two elements that adds up to target, you can return them using the value from the dictionary, and that is the most efficient solution.